Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I hope you are able to see the goodness in the things around you. I hope you're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel you may be in, and understand that wherever you are right now, you're not always going to be there. Sometimes we keep ourselves in certain places because of the circumstances and how we internalize it. And sometimes things are real, things are bad, things are horrible. But I want you to realize that whatever you can do to improve yourself, whatever you can do to be to a point where you can leave that space, you can leave that place, you can elevate yourself out of it. Focus on that as best as you can. And understand that troubles and things will not always last. But the only one that can keep you and have you defeated is your mind, and your mind and in the way that you think. If you're thinking, I can't get out of this, I'm always going to be here, then that is what's going to really contribute not only to what people are trying to do, attempting to do, or doing, but the fact that you give up on yourself. So I wanted to talk with you guys very quickly about, a lot of you probably know about this. I don't know if it's worldwide, but I know it's a big thing going on in the United States, where a girl was killed. She was murdered, okay, by her friends. And I say girl, but she's actually a woman. And so 7 of them went on a trip to Cabo, Mexico. And somehow it turns out one of the persons, at least what was shown on camera, attacks her and beats her, and she dies. In the meantime, there are other people who were there videotaping the incident, encouraging her to fight. Others just doing nothing. Now, there's only just one video that's been shown, but apparently there's another recording somewhere that will eventually come out. At this moment, the girl that made the decision to beat up and attack this young lady, her name is Shanquella Robinson, she is now been arrested, and she's getting ready to be extradited back to Mexico for to be charged, and the whole process that's coming. Now with her, once she goes there, depending on what she says or does not say, or adds another part that we don't know about, her friends, some of those individuals can also end up being extradited and being in that whole situation simply by being associated with it. Let's say perhaps if they help, because there was this whole story of how she died that turned out not to be true. And the friends, a few of them, I don't know if all of them, but there are definitely some who were identified corroborating the story and telling her parents that she died from alcohol poisoning. Now, again, everyone's innocent until proven guilty and all this good stuff. So what their roles were, if any, still has to be sorted out in the weeds. And there's a lot of weeds right now. But one thing for sure, the mother of the deceased has said these individuals told her, especially one that was very close to the family, was telling her that, hey, she drank too much. It's coming out that the doctor, the physician at the hotel was saying, hey, she needs to get care. She should go to a hospital, and they declined. It's coming out that it took them a while before they finally called and said, hey, she needs some help, stating that she died from alcohol poisoning. Now, even though some of these individuals perhaps did not put their hands on her, even though there are allegations being made that there's one person that actually hit her after she was already down, that person can get in trouble as well. The fact that they lied and they tried to cover up, allegedly told lies and said, hey, this is how she died. They probably got their story together. They left the country, left her body there, and made sure that they brought her luggage back home to her mother, to her parents, and told them this whole big story. These actions are going to have consequences. What am I talking about today? I want y'all to really understand the importance of your choices. Now, this young lady, whose name is Dejanay Jackson, I believe she's a mother. I believe she had goals, but made a decision for whatever reason to do something on foreign land. In my opinion, I don't believe she meant to kill her. I think she just felt she's going to attack her, humiliate her for whatever reason, beat her up. It's going to be filmed and maybe posted. It's going to be one of those things. I beat you down. What are you going to do about it? Perhaps she knew that the deceased wouldn't fight her back. Perhaps she saw that she was a person that wouldn't fight, because she wasn't. You can tell she was not a fighter because she was literally being attacked brutally and didn't one time hit her back. Even when someone was saying to her, you could at least hit, can't you at least defend yourself? In the midst of that, she's saying no. And her voice is not even loud. She's silently being beaten up and she's calmly saying no, even in these moments. But she's being beaten up. So nobody's moving. Nobody's shocked. No one is saying stop. No one is saying, trying to pull them apart. Rather, it's being filmed. The deceased is naked. They showed a video. There's a video of the deceased moments before, looking for everybody, saying, where you guys at? It doesn't take that long to get out some clothes. So they probably plan to go skinny dipping. They're at this resort, this beautiful villa that the deceased paid for. So the fact that no one is alarmed leads me to believe that this was a norm. It's normal to jump on somebody and beat them up. It's normal for them to attack, to fight. This is probably not, we can probably assume that this is not Dejanay's first time maybe physically attacking somebody. Okay, Dejanay is a person that is now going to be charged. Maybe it's not the first time she's had some sort of an angry outburst. Maybe it's not the first time she's had some sort of altercation. And it's probably definitely not the first time someone has been holding a camera and filming violence, or people being somewhere where people are jumping on each other and not doing anything, and it was just going to be business as usual. Maybe they knew that after that beating, whatever happened, that Shanquella would have just let it go. I mean, think about it. This is a young lady that paid $10,000 out of her money for a villa so her friends can come and hang out. And a lot of times places like that, when you get the villa and you do that, it's normally like all inclusive. So you pay for the villa and the villa comes with a lot of different services. So they're probably getting all their meals 24/7 for free, and she probably paid for it. You know, she probably did. All right. So what happened in that hotel room is probably their norm, and they thought it was going to be business as usual, but it changed. She died. And now, not only was there a life lost, parents have lost their daughter, brothers, sisters, nephews, if applicable, lost her. Okay. And now this girl, her life is changing too, because if I'm not correct, they say she has a child. She has a young child. The child is under 10 years old. The child is under 9 years old, if the information given is correct. Her life is going to be done. She's being extradited from the United States back to Mexico. She's been picked up by the FBI. Mexico is not going to play the games that that offenders can play in the United States with the court system, your mental state and what medications you missed or didn't take or were supposed to get. Nothing about your childhood is going to matter. Nothing about who was not present in her family or not is going to matter. All that is changing, and Mexican prisons are not like American prisons. So her whole life is destroyed. And then what may happen, depending on what this lady who is now over in Mexico, depending on what she shares with them, if she can show that everyone else were complicit and planned and tried to cover evidence, got rid of evidence, cleaned up, threw something away, decided that they're going to lie, they plotted and planned, they're going to get extradited over there as well. What is the point of what I'm telling you? Sometimes there are things that people have been doing for a long time and getting away with. Sometimes they're just known for that behavior. You know how this person is. You know that he has anger problems. You know she has anger problems. People are used to being somewhere, just filming something happening and no one's helping. Hanging out with people who harm other people, do things to other people, and they think, well, all I did was watch. All I did was, they said this, I didn't say that. You can be caught up simply by being there, because those 6 other individuals, I am sure right now, are not getting any sleep. Because if for some reason it turns out or comes out that they were complicit, which I can already say probably at least one other person is going to end up getting picked up and extradited over there to Mexico. Everybody's going down. They didn't touch her, but because they were there. They didn't touch her, but because they failed to call the police. They didn't touch that girl that died. At least it's not showing them. But a person sat there and filmed a murder, what turned out to be a murder. And then possibly they went back and told the mother a lie, told the victim's mom a lie. Those things can get them in trouble. In Mexico, here in the United States, you lie to the authorities, you may get some light sentence or some type of probation. But in Mexico, that stuff is going to be, even a year in a Mexican prison is going to be too much. So what I want to tell you all, regardless of your age, you're never too young to be responsible. You're never too old and hardened to care. Remove yourself from people who's getting themselves in trouble. I did a video that says you're guilty if you were there, you're guilty. And this is a perfect example of that. Remove yourself from people who have a habit of being a hothead and doing things. And be careful the things you record, because sometimes what you record can and will be used against you. You can inadvertently, unwillingly end up being pulled into something because you were there, because you saw something and you didn't say anything, but you were part of it. People sometimes will lie on you and say you did something just so they can take you down with them and you didn't do anything. But what would you be guilty of? Your associations. Nobody's perfect on this planet, but there are people who live to be destructive. There are people who live to hurt and to bully people. Be careful what you do at school. Be careful being somewhere, ganging up on someone in the bathroom, being somewhere when someone's trying to bully a person, filming it. You're going to get in trouble. People don't understand how easy it is to kill somebody. The head is where the brain is and so many things. And there is a tiny bone that's it's somewhere like in your neck area. I don't remember where it is, but if someone punches you and that bone cracks, the person will die right on the spot. If someone's punched in the face and they fall and hit their head hard, they can die on the spot. They can be crippled. They can become disabled. So you don't want to be around these people that behaves this way. You don't want to be around individuals that's plotting and planning and trying to set somebody up, and you're just going to sit back and watch. Sometimes you're going to end up becoming more involved than you think, and it will change your life. And right now, someone is buried and gone, dreams just shot, dreams done. Somebody is going to be in a Mexican prison, and all the people that sat around did nothing, probably helped to tell a lie, helped to cover up, helped to clean up or maybe stage it. I imagine if someone would lie and say, hey, she died of alcohol poisoning, they probably went and was pouring out a bunch of alcohol and put things around her, moved her body somewhere so that it can look exactly as the story they're trying to make up. So if they did that, and she can say, yes, they helped me to move the body and stage it and pour this down, and we put some alcohol on her so it could smell, she can smell like she had a bunch of alcohol on her, they're going to go to jail. They're going to go to prison for that. Maybe not get the same sentence as the next person, but as the person who actually committed the murder, but they're going to get something. So always remember, associations matter. Choices matter. Corroborating in a lie matters. Don't change your future and your life running around and fooling around with people like that. You're not too young to be accountable. You're not too young to be held accountable. You're not too young. You may be young, but depending on what happens, they can charge you as an adult. Be strong enough, be bold enough to say, no, I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm not going to do this. Be bold enough and strong enough to say no. Be bold enough to call 911, to warn a person, don't go in there. This is what they're going to do. Or tell a teacher. Sometimes people put things on kids and expect children to behave a certain way, but then look at adults. What examples do they have? And sometimes those who are being taught differently, they're in this world where they just feel like they're all alone and everybody else is looking at them like they're weird for having standards. But be bold in that. Do what is right, because every seed you plant, good or bad, will always come back to you. People who have a habit of doing things, that habit, if you have a bad temper, you better reel it in, because your temper is going to be your demise. If you have a habit of being around mischievous people and getting away with it, you're never going to get away with it. Your mischief, your temper, this behavior, hurting, harming, robbing, stealing, framing people, whatever it is, because these people, may not necessarily do anything violent, but they do a lot of little wicked things and they get away with it. Well, how can you prove that I lied? How can you prove this didn't happen? There are plenty of people who spend their lives framing people for things that they didn't do, claiming rape when they were not raped, while others were. There's some who lie and they were not, which is a slap in the face to those who were, because now those who really experience those things, people are looking at them like, yeah, okay. You understand what I'm saying? You have the crying wolf type. They make up things, which makes it harder for those who have really been assaulted. People are not believing them. These things happen, and nothing you do habitually is just because your habit or this thing that a person does all the time. It will use you long enough where you can destroy other people, and you turn around and you destroy yourself. You understand what I'm saying? It's always going to turn back around, and the person is going to be so confident in doing the wrong that they've been doing for so long that they do something that's going to bring destruction. So watch your company, watch the people around you. It doesn't matter if they're funny and they're fun and, this person's been here for me. If this person goes around hurting people, harming people, there's always something going on when they're around. You take your leave, you separate yourself, you make up whatever excuse you need to make up. You get up out of that situation, get out of that place. I always tell people, if you're idle and you couldn't get into school, you couldn't get into college, you don't know what to do with yourself, or you're going to school, but then you're living somewhere where things are bad for you, even if you're in college, but there's so much chaos and things going around you. If you can't get away, you get in that military. It immediately pulls you away from everybody, sets you straight in terms of discipline and focus. You can get your college degree, finish your schooling, whatever you need to do. It challenges you. You continue to do the things that you need to do. And you can choose whether you're going to stay in the whole time or just do a certain period of time and get out. When you get out, you'll now be eligible to work for the government as a civilian. I don't throw this out just because I'm a recruiter. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not throwing things out because I'm going to get some incentive. I've already done my time and I'm getting plenty of lifelong incentives. I don't need to do this, but some of you, you're in situations where you seem not to be able to escape that danger or the troublemakers. You just want to do right. And I will say, do your best now while you're in school so you can go to college, be able to go away to college. But if for some reason that does not happen and you're trying to work and you're trying to do different things, the Army is open. The military, well, not just the Army. I was in the Army, so it could be the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, whatever, Marines, you get in there. I say the Army because there's a lot of job options and opportunities. I believe it's the same in the Air Force as well. The Marines, they have some things, but they're the ones you're going to hit the ground and you're going to be in combat. And a lot of the other branches of the military supplement. So a lot of times they get their medical treatments and things from the Navy side of things. So there won't be jobs for that specifically in the Marines. But anyway, I always say that because it is a sure way to go. You got a roof over your head. It gives you a start in life. It takes you away from the toxicity. You are now going to get your education. You're going to do all these different things that you've never done before. You're going to realize that the fears that you've had, you'll face them. You can get an education, stay in or get out. And it changes your mindset. There are other things that you can do. You can get a contract job, get out and go live somewhere else, move, get a job opportunity across the country, across the state. Just remove yourself from that. If you find that you don't have any options, I don't have anywhere to go and I'm surrounded by toxicity, that's a move you can make. Otherwise, if you can, you're doing okay, and you can do well, fare well without having to make those type of decisions, then just being able to say no, this is not what we're gonna do. Make your choices, guys, because even if you choose not to make a conscious choice to change and to be different and to change your company, your behavior, those habits is gonna make a choice for you. And a lot of times, those decisions, those things that begin to happen in your life, the consequence when it kicks in, you can end up being like this girl. Either end up being the victim, end up being deceased, or end up being now where you're there because you can lose your freedom because you were associated with certain people, or being like this young lady now, Dejanay Jackson, who's getting ready to pretty much lose everything. It's done. Okay? She's gonna go be in somebody's prison, Mexico for sure, unless there's some twist that requires her to come back to the United States. But either way, life is gonna be completely different and never as it was before. And even if these people, her associates, some of them get away with it, their reputation is going to be tarnished. So make your decisions, guys. Choose wisely and know that every moment, all the people that you say are your friends and your associations, the people that you are around, eventually that stuff is going to affect your life one way or the other. Don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to, they're calling you an oddball, they're calling you a cornball, they're calling you this or that, the other. It's okay. You live longer. And right now, they may be teaching you, but you keep getting your education and doing whatever you need to do and focus on going to school or whatever you're doing, taking opportunities, because they may call you silly and a nerd, but one day they may be looking at you and having to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Okay? answering to you because you chose to buckle down and do the right thing. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.